Okay, I know I'm not exactly capitalising on the Rick and Morty hype right at the peak right now, but oh well. I've been rewatching the show lately and this episode always stands out to me because it's completely different to every other. It's the least Rick and Morty episode of them all, but also it's one of my favourites. The Ricklantis mixer. I usually just analyse movies, but I was inspired to do this, so let's indulge in a little bit of TV show side action. No one will know. And I mean that because look at how many views I get. Hardly anyone will know I've done this. Anyway, as a show, Rick and Morty hasn't held back when it comes to riffing on political or social views. I always say, and I always mean, when I say that every single piece of art, including and especially TV shows and movies, is political. Because even choosing not to be political is a political stance. But this episode jumps into the swamp and does backstrokes, and it can do this in a completely unique way because only a show in which it's established that our main characters have doppelgangers that regularly interact with one another could tell this particular story. We get a funny setup to trick us into thinking this episode is going to be about one thing, then it's revealed that it's actually something completely different, and here is where we get our first glimpse of everyday life on the Citadel, and it looks exactly like our own lives. Rick's and Morty's trudging to work, performing everyday tasks and leading normal lives, except for those in positions of power and status of money. Now, any show could tell a story about class differences and the struggles of the working man and how gross billionaires and those who rose to power are. But the brilliance of telling these stories through the lens of Rick and Morty is that every Rick and Morty are biologically the same age, the same intelligence, the same personality, with only minor quirks setting them apart. Straight away we get this message that their lives in that system, which is, by the way, our system, is not a meritocracy. Those Ricks didn't get to be rich and powerful because they were more intelligent or more qualified or worked harder. In fact, we see that in a lot of cases the opposite is true, such as with our factory Rick, who sees others who have only just arrived at the Citadel jump above him in the pecking order just because of who they know, causing him to lash out at the system and kill his boss. Which leads us to this question. What sets these identical Ricks and Mortys apart? Essentially, it's their experiences, the jobs that they're assigned, or the things that are done to them. The reason that we can have this Stand By Me parody is because each of these Mortys has had different experiences with their Ricks despite being the same person. One has been fused with a lizard, one was created with a drama implant, etc. I think that's partly why that story is in there. We see the Mortys being trained to be assigned to new Ricks, and even though they're all Mortys, each one has been made just different enough through their experiences to make a convincing group of individuals. The episode also takes aim at capitalism and the way it operates with simple Ricks.
60 iterations off the central finite curve, there's a Rick that works more with wood than polarity plating. His name is Simple Rick, but he's no dummy.
A Rick different from all the rest, who chose his family over science and found true happiness by doing so. Well, we put him to sleep, played his happiest memory on a loop so we could extract the chemical to put on our snacks, so that you can get just a little taste of what it's like to actually be happy. We bleed him dry so that we can do the same to you. Manufactured, mass-produced, knock-off happiness that you can purchase to make your sad little lives seem a little better for a few seconds. At a price, of course. The idea of privilege is also explored with the Rick and Morty cops. Degrading names given to Mortys, treating them like they're animals and second-class citizens.
Mortys are human! Get the fuck off the car, you Rickless fucking animal! The election's got these yellow shirts more riled up than a picture date Jessica.
Putting them in ghettos and reducing them to a life of crime because of how they were born. Do we see this happening to Ricks? No. They benefit from their Rick privilege and are seen to be normal, upstanding members of society. For the police, it's easy. When some Mortys need to be eliminated, just do it.
What happened? Same old story. Morty's killing Mortys.
That is, until we get the one good cop. A Rick who sees the humanity in Mortys and finally speaks the truth.
The hell happened in there? Same old story. Rick's killing Mortys.
Oh, it's a metaphor for racism. All of this is happening at the same time as the run-up to the Citadel's first election, and as we'd expect, all of the leading candidates are Ricks, with one Morty trailing in the polls until the debate. This Morty, who at first seems like the genuine article, says all of the right things, a promise to right the wrongs and the inequalities of the Citadel, and to bring true unity to a divided populace. It's not until he wins that we see that it's all a ploy to instill a dictatorship. The Ricks with him are essentially the leaders of the various industries, and they give this little piece of telling information.
That we don't care who sits in that seat. A Rick, a Morty, a goddamn Jerry, doesn't matter. We've been running the Citadel since before the council, and you'll find that we're still running it now.
Again, this is the system. Our system. The politicians are the ones we elect, and who pass the laws, but the ones with real power are the rich donors and oligarchs who pull their strings. If you've watched any of my videos so far, you'll know that I like movies and TV that has a few layers to it, and this episode fits the bill. The layers are a lot more obvious than, say, Kill Bill. Check that out here. But you can definitely spend quite a bit of time thinking about this one and how it relates to yourself. Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland wanted this episode to reflect America and its politics, and they succeeded. Essentially, it's a story about the system and how broken it is, and it is. That's it. Because not all stories have happy endings.